Is the gold standard coming back? For the first time in decades, a country has launched a new currency rejoining the gold standard. A BRICS currency is in development, and the rumor is that it too will be gold-backed. Gold bugs are thrilled at the news, but caution is advised. More on that in a moment. For many years, the US and much of the world operated on the gold standard. The gold standard is a monetary system in which the value of a country's currency is based on gold. When the gold standard existed in the US, you could exchange paper currency for a specific amount of physical gold. This agreement is what gave currency its value and trust. Now today, the currencies of the world are based on a promise. The last country to leave the gold standard was Switzerland, who abandoned it in 1999. But today, one country has turned back to the gold standard to stabilize their economy in the fight against persistent and overwhelming inflation. That country is Zimbabwe. Their new currency is called the ZiG, which is short for Zimbabwe Gold. The ZiG follows a history of currency failures for Zimbabwe. The difference this time is that the ZiG is reportedly gold-backed, which gives it an air of authenticity that former attempts have lacked. But suspicion is evident not only among the people, some of whom are refusing to accept the ZiG, but also among some government offices that also will not accept the government's new currency. It should be noted, this is the sixth currency since the 2009 implosion of the Zimbabwe dollar, which led to nightmare levels of hyperinflation. Most commerce in the country today is conducted using US dollars as a safer bet, reportedly as much as 80% of transactions. The Zimbabwe president has been cracking down on alternative payments to force citizens to use the ZiG, stating its adoption is a matter of national identity and dignity. Although this new currency is backed by the country's gold reserves, it's important to read the fine print. Zimbabwe doesn't actually have the gold to cover this currency, and the ZiG is actually backed by a basket of commodities. According to Zimbabwe's central bank, the new ZiG currency is fully backed to the central bank's reserves, which is $100 million in foreign currency and $185 million in gold. However, when we dove into this a little deeper, it turns out the bank only has 1.1 tons of gold, which is less than half of that $185 million figure. At the time of filming, with gold near all-time highs, it's estimated that Zimbabwe's gold reserves are valued between $70 and $75 million. The other reserves are commodities like diamonds that could theoretically be converted to gold. This is one reason analysts are skeptical, and the people are as well. It should be noted, Zimbabwe is one of the most corrupt countries in the world and has been caught misreporting figures to the IMF in the past. The full switch from ZIM to ZiG occurred April 30th. We think if this new currency will stand a chance, every branch of the Zimbabwe government should accept it as payment unreservedly. When some governmental agencies refuse to take its own currency, it starts to look very suspicious. That's like a chef who's not willing to taste his own food, and you wouldn't want to try that either. The ZiG was off to a promising start after its introduction, in spite of all the misgivings, with the new currency gaining against the dollar. That's an encouraging sign for its proponents and a notable achievement given Zimbabwe's history. It's something we're certain the BRICS alliance is watching curiously as well. The ZiG has a remarkably similar feature set to the one reportedly in development for use in international trade by the BRICS nations. If the BRICS coalition does produce their own currency backed by gold, foreign currency reserves, and other commodities similar to the ZiG, it would mean we have two gold-backed currencies in the world again. If the ZiG fails, it could put a stain on the idea of gold-backed currencies being a more stable and preferred form of money over fiat currency. And we think this would be undeserved if it happened, given the myriad issues facing Zimbabwe that could lead to another failure. However, if the ZiG succeeds in stabilizing the Zimbabwe economy, it could put the shine back on the gold standard. Zimbabwe has been struggling with inflation. In 2019, inflation was 255%, In 2020, it was 557%. And in 2021 and 2022, Zimbabwe dollars faced inflation of approximately 100%. If the ZiG brings inflation back in line to a normal rate, other countries suffering from inflation may reconsider the gold standard for themselves as well. This is purely speculative, and while no one knows what the future truly holds, we all know inflation is a part of that future, and we all know that people around the world are looking for ways to curb it. Although Zimbabwe is the last place we'd expect to see a currency success story, we wish for them nothing but the best of luck, and we'll be watching the ZiG's performance eagerly from the States. That's all we have for you today. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.